Amazing, we're not allowed to talk about them because they've lost, even though they're not going to be supporting our candidate. So, no, now is the time to fight. 100%. Now is the time to fight. This is like a rotting cancer that is like eating parts of the party from the inside out. And it's like, I assume you mean left political streamers? I mean left everybody. It doesn't matter. Like every single person, like MSNBC or
Hello. What's up? I'm just I'm getting ready to, do a little bit of work, do a little bit of video editing before I lay back down, go to sleep, and then head off to work. Nice toes, fanboy. Horny this early in the morning is a little interesting. Try to fire up the Twitch. Let's see. Creator dashboard. Stream manager. Edit stream info. Back to this one. Stream settings. Edit. Click. Copy. Paste. Done. Paste the Discord link. Enter. In. And then hold on. Let's see. The first instance of going the last bridge. Import or Tumblr. Did I read what? I'm not sure what that is. Bro, cooking up something again. I'm always cooking up something. I'm gonna take a fat dump, so I'm gonna leave anyways. Good luck. Peace out. What? What is he? Oh. Okay. This is just a little confusing. I should shut this chat down.
everything is.
you dumbass. I'm reading the fucking. They have IDF team comp. Says the Epstein character. Like everyone's a pedophile. That's all it is online anymore, bro. Everything is fucking it.
Yeah, there's a on Discord to play COD or something. I doubt if anybody is in that Discord playing COD like that. I feel like something happened where like somehow some larger part of the micro community like got everybody into like playing car games, like car simulator games, like driving simulator games. But Call of Duty is the biggest game of all time, basically. So I wouldn't put it past them to be playing it to some degree, whatever. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm going to keep putting resources into growing the server, starting over from re-zeroing it out. I don't know, a new life in the online as a Reddit mod. Okay.
Got some time?
What was the lobotomy music playing before this one? I'm not sure. I'm not able to hear it because I'm listening to something else. I have my audio routed so that whatever YouTube hears is something else from what I hear because of copyright issues. I don't think I would know anyways because you just said lobotomy music and I don't know what that is. Yep, it's you don't need some sort of password to join the Discord server. It's pretty much open.
You're not making any sense! I'll ask you once more. And I'll answer the same each time. You're not making any sense!
Yep, I'm thinking of seeing how I can work the second GTA trailer into this video, because it's a reference to the last time that I did this sort of mash of different medias into this I guess montage type of video. So there's a lot that's going to go into this video that I'm going to try to make it very straightforward, but it's going to be difficult to do that with this kind of thing due to the conversation that's being had. I think the overall conversation will be understood properly, but I think the visuals will be somewhat distracting for a few people or so. I'm not too sure. I don't have that sort of time to figure out how to make sure that I can rectify the gap that would exist between the visuals and what you actually are supposed to get out of this. But it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, the straight conservative video is funny to me for the reaction that I knew that I would get from quote unquote straight conservatives. Let me see if I can find this comment. No, that's not the one. This guy right here. To be honest, this is tame compared to what most liberals confess voluntarily and proudly. And I'm just kind of like, you know, if confession and voluntarily is not this is an oxymoron, because to confess something implies that it was a secret, and which means that if you voluntarily confess something, it's not a confession. You're just saying something. And then to add on the word proudly implies that there was nothing to hide to begin with. So the word confession doesn't make any sense here. And that's just a sort of like mental gymnastics you need to do to like try to win back some sort of ground that you think you lost. But the video was inspired by Byron Nome, a known conservative male who dressed up as a woman and put on fake tits behind his wife's back. And then somehow he thinks that's better than being openly a crossdresser or trans. I don't understand where you need to go. I don't understand you need to be in your mind to like you know, fight that kind of fight internally and just kind of pretend that like you're on like some sort of moral high ground. It's very it's kind of insidious, but whatever. You said there's some trans nuances. I wouldn't say that, because that's kind of like literally it's just your typical autogynephilia where you derive sexual pleasure from sexualizing yourself, and I wouldn't want to put that in the same bucket as, you know, the transgender experience or the that general spectrum. But yeah. So how does your stream always pop up when I'm trying to procrastinate? Because when you procrastinate, you go looking for things to procrastinate with. I might be getting something wrong, but those two things don't like they go hand in hand. Hello, Yellowstone. Hello, Aliana? Let's see. Also, vid where guy was molested by a man with Down syndrome. The original vid you linked is banned at YouTube, but your vid is still there. Is it? I didn't. I'd imagine the video's banned because the account was banned. That's what I would imagine.
What happened?
Interesting.
What happened?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. There's more to the dialogue than I originally had in this video, and I just removed a good amount of it. I already knew that it was kind of racy of a video, so I had to like probably remove a lot of the like the insistence. I'm pretty sure the joke was a bit more long-winded, and I just made it less long-winded. Hello, Zero. This girl also thinks it is morally acceptable in society if we currently live to put pineapple on top of. If we live, what are you talking about? What do you mean if we live? People are alive that put pineapples on their pizza. You mean love? I think that since most of these types of questions seem to be boiling down to like how would you say this? I think most people aren't really concerned with morality. I think I've said fairly often, but I guess I need to say it a bit more, is that the entire Western world is way more concerned with the utility of something versus the morality of something. Something is only useful and true or should I say, something is only true and good if it is useful, for the most part, for Westerners. So if you eat something and bite something or whatever and you don't like the taste of it, then you will find it morally reprehensible, because to jump from to be at, oh, I just don't like this, to stay in that space of, oh, I don't like this, is too boring. And people's lives seem to be somewhat miserable, so they need to make everything more extraordinary. So instead of saying, this is not to my liking, it turns into, if you eat pineapple on pizza, you're the devil incarnate, and that gives more of a reaction out of people. So what's the point? The point is, like I said, it's a utility thing. You're utilizing the fact that people wouldn't give a fuck about you saying that you didn't like pineapple on pizza, but we've elevated the conversation to being sort of moral imperative that if you like eat this, you do. I get that we're talking about a joke, but this is like a meta commentary, I suppose, on the way people like to frame discussions a lot, injecting these more extreme terms into things, kind of have like a little fun here and there. But it the thing about a joke is that it's always going to reference some sort of underlying mechanic that is operating in society as some sort of constant low hum of a level. Low hum meaning like once a frequency gets so low, you can't really pick it up because it's just too low in frequency, but it's still humming in the background. There's a sort of low hum of the insistence that everything is being made into a moral conversation. So we kind of pull from that fact that is in the background constantly to make jokes about certain things. We try to moralize things as a joke, but we do that in general, so it's not that much of a joke. But yeah, most jokes can't be funny unless it's pulling from some sort of deep truth. That's how most comedians get up on stage and tiptoe between the line of what is too offensive to say versus what is just right to say to get you to laugh or whatever. Okay, really normal question. Am I have a pass for N-word if my ancestors was also enslaved, yet we're all... Are you sure you have white skin? The way you typed that out made it sound like you were brown. Not even like American brown, but like Middle Eastern brown. But anyways, I think people can say what they want to say, but that doesn't mean they're going to suffer. That doesn't mean they're not going to suffer consequences for what they say. And inward pass does not give you permission to say what you want to say and then not get beat up when somebody who doesn't care about the past knocks you out. You don't go to Africa with a $1 bill and say, let me buy this thing that costs $1. Your money is no good here. It's like your inward pass as a white person into a neighborhood with the black people in the project somewhere where it's actually absolutely just abject poverty. And you'll see how long that pass lasts in that environment. I think all in all, it would be boring if we simply agreed on everything. People want world peace and justice. Those things are not natural concepts that are made up by humanity. Yes, they are. Because when we say world peace, we're not talking about no violence. We're not talking about no issues at the political level, at the economic level. World peace means no war. World peace means people don't send bombs from one continent to the next. World peace is no actual war that is tearing down the fabrics of societies. That's what world peace means. We're not children when it comes to idealizing what a peaceful world looks like. A peaceful world looks like we don't send millions to die to go fight a war anymore. World peace sounds like something that is getting closer towards, bringing down the number of people who starve to death down to as close to zero as possible. I'm careful with my words. I said close to zero as possible. That does not mean that zero is possible in any perceivable manner currently at this point in time. I need pineapple eaters so I can hate on them as a joke. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like that's the kind of stuff that's going to cause us to have at some point. If I need pineapple eaters to stay alive, so I could have something to hate as a joke. If that doesn't stay at a lukewarm level, room temperature level, it boils over, and then it gets to be, oh, these people are too boring. They don't respond whenever I call them um the gay slur when for eating pineapples on pizza. So instead of calling them the gay slur, I'm going to call them the hard R instead, and then it's going to get advanced to me pointing a gun at them. When you go to Pizza Hut and they pick up pineapples on pizza, I'm going to pull out a gun at them and tell you to stop eating pineapples on pizza, and then the gun turns into a gun that has, it's a loaded gun, and then it turns into your finger on the trigger, and then it turns into somebody's face looking like pizza. And suddenly, it's not really a joke anymore. I'm just saying, you can call it a slippery slope fallacy if you want to, but that's generally historically how things naturally progress to some degree. I'm not saying everything is predicated and born from a joke, but I am saying that things always start with this sort of low rumbling hum in the background until it becomes some sort of loud noise that people can't tolerate anymore. I mean, Americans lose their shit because of slavery, or I don't get something. I think Americans lose their shit because of slavery because people are telling them in their face sometimes, I don't know why you would think that you deserve to cut in front of me in line when my parents used to own your parents or something like that. It's not like people just wake up out of the bed at 9 o'clock in the morning and say, "Damn, I'm about to be mad because people are racist out there." No, they experience racism. Like it's not a this is not like a TikTok concept. This is not like something you see as a mini game in Roblox. Racism is it's not going anywhere. It's a real phenomenon, and it's perpetuated on a consistent and daily basis. We have people currently who dress up as ICE agents who look for people who are brown to abduct, impersonating ICE agents. That's a real phenomenon happening, documented, well documented in the state that I live in, the state above that state, the state above the state that I live in California. So I guess keep putting in those hours on Fortnite and Roblox so you can stay oblivious to these things that are happening because they're real. Idiots and boring people put too much emphasis on their race, sexuality, gender, or other stuff that is really not important to what they really are. Some people seek validation, and that's fair, but it's more important who we are as a person to where we came from. So what you're saying is an idealized version of how you can carry yourself in society, but that's not the truth that we live. The truth of the matter is that your identity is everything. If I call you a woman and you're a man, then you will feel somewhat peeved. People think that they aren't in some sort of identity politics just because their particular identity isn't being scrutinized constantly. You say that about we shouldn't care about our race, but the person sitting next to you who is white will say that there's this issue of white erasure going on, and there's this issue of white guilt, and there's this issue of the replacement theory that Elon Musk, the richest man on the planet, by several orders of magnitude above any other rich man on the planet, is peddling this sort of conversation about white people being erased from the planet. So the richest man on the planet is concerned about his skin color and what that means for the entirety of the world. happens to have the same skin tone as him. So it's not some sort of special thing that is sacred to minorities. It is a phenomenon that is relevant to all people who share some sort of identity, intersectionally speaking. Because you can be a man, you can also be a white man, you can be a man and then a black man, or you can be woman and a black woman, or a woman and a white woman. And then it just gets fractal from there. Because you're not just a man or a woman or a black person or a white person, you are also a person who works in a particular place. And that is tied to your identity. You are also the son of your father. You are also the son of your daughter. And if you understand what it means to have two parents, you understand that there's some sort of familial bond that actually links you, or should I say, you don't really interact with your father the same way you do with your mother. We know it's because when you need to ask your parent for something when you're younger, you don't ask both of them for the thing that you want. Generally, all throughout your life, you don't. You get to a point where you know which of the parents you can ask the thing for because you know you have a different relationship with each parent. You know that when you lie to one, you can actually tell the truth to the other one and vice versa, that sort of thing. So you, even then in that moment, your relationship to your parents makes you a different person when you approach these people and then look towards another parental figure, or should I say another adult figure, if you're like in the general age range of like 15, a teen in general who's at school or whatever. The way you interact with your teacher is not the same way you interact with your mother and father. So that in that case, you're a student. And when you're 20 something years old and you look back on how you were when you're 15, you wince, you cringe because you say to yourself, I can't believe that I was like that back in that time period. That means you're looking at yourself as if your former self was alien to you. I've given you almost, I think, 7 or 8 different types of ways to present yourself, which is inherently tied to your identity and how it has this sort of intersectionality to it. Also, hello, Viet, person who has that I think Chinese, Vietnamese, Asian name that everybody has. What's it called? It's pronounced Win. I found out recently that it was pronounced Win, I think. Those are real issues. Yes, that doesn't mean that you are first a black person before a human being. Well, see, you're talking descriptively. You can sit there and say, well, you're not black before you're a human. Well, based off of what logic or framework? How do you say that a person is human before they're black if that's not their experience? What does it mean to be human versus being black? If it is your experience that when you walk down the street, somebody throws a pineapple at your face because you're black, then you aren't experiencing what it means to be human. You're experiencing what it means to be a black human. There's a qualifier before human. If you're white and you walk down the street and not get a pineapple tossed in your face, then you're experiencing what it means to actually not even perceive race. Because there's nothing qualifying you to even experience what it would mean to be white. You see, a lot of white people actually didn't know anything about race for a long time because they had no reason to experience race because being whites seemed to be default. And we know this to be true because we have a number of people who lived in the Jim Crow era who basically purports to the idea that basically you don't find out you're a black person until I'm sorry, I can't talk. In the Jim Crow era, during the sort of, before slavery was abolished, many people report the idea that they didn't know they were black until either their mothers told them or a white person told them. Because obviously the idea of race in its colloquial sense is a concept, which means somebody has to explain it to you for it to have power. You don't get all this. No, you're getting it. You're getting most of it. You just need to ask questions to help clarify certain things. It's not that complicated. Hi, Kurosai, what's this one about? I'm trying to edit a video, and then we got into critical race theory, basically. No, not really. For me, it's important about race when it leads to harm. Yet banned words do not help anything. Well, for me, chat turned it really serious all of a sudden. But like I said, only idiots put all the emphasis on it. But we are humans first and foremost. This is not descriptive. What you're saying, this is prescriptive. You're telling people, you're prescribing people how they should be. But that's not how we live our lives. We live our lives based off a description of what we experience. You can say these nice things about how we should lead towards our ideals, but I can put you in a situation. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say I. The nation, society, people can put you into situations where you will emphasize certain things about your identity. It's very simple. People who are better off, more affluent, basically have their lives going for them pretty steadily well. They don't really have to concern themselves with these sorts of issues because they're not put in these environments and conditions to have this be a problem. So of course you wouldn't emphasize it the same way. They're not idiots because they have a different experience from you. In fact, that idea that they are idiots because they have a different experience from you is what breeds racism to begin with, and classism. Um, I'm walking down to the street and guys call me each other niggas. I can also address them. It's puzzled me why I can't when they can. Don't be daft. You know why you can say the word. You just don't want to because of the context in which you exist in. The environment in which you exist in. There's somewhere you can go on this planet actually, where you can be a white person and say the N-word, and it won't be a problem. But that's not the environment you exist in. And those black people who came from that space where they don't care if you say the N-word, they didn't exist in an environment where it was a problem to say the N-word if you were white. I think you're drawing lines that definitely aren't there. While you make some good points, life in general is more complex and complicated than what we make it out to be. Right. So you should be agreeing with what I'm saying then. If it's more complex than what people make it out to be, then it makes no sense for you to deny anything that I'm saying, because I'm explaining to you the nuance of how people interact with their identities and other people's identities, and you're trying to and you're trying to boil it down to a binary of saying either you are stupid because you believe in race, or you're smart because you don't. So you should be agreeing with me because what you said earlier boils everything down to like either you're stupid or you're not. And what I'm saying is, no, people are quote unquote stupid because they were born into environments that made them see race as a survival mechanism, as a means of seeing yourself to feel good about yourself or whatever, or to understand why people will interact with you the way they do. Just because they over-index on this or that, this over-index on this value, this variable versus this one, there's no real lapse in intelligence that's happening, because that implies that your intelligence is this sort of thing that happens to you versus you trying to interact with it. And even though it is actually the case that our intelligence does happen to us, because one of the main reasons we know that depression is an attack on the brain is because it attacks certain things in the chemistry of your brain, such as epinephrine, neuroepinephrine, the production of serotonin, and the brain starts to go underneath this sort of cognitive diminishment where at some point, because you experience too much of this clinical depression, these sorts of mental illnesses, your fluid IQ effectively drops. And what that means is, in most cases, that anybody who is a devout racist or a devout victim of racism, they experience higher levels of these sorts of clinical depressiveness and these clinical levels of anxiety because they're in this constant fight or flight mode where they can't help but to have their fluid intelligence being diminished in quality because they experience these harsh conditions that make them appear, quote unquote, stupid or an idiot. We are many things: our sex, our gender, etc., etc. The whole point is simply that we don't have to put 100% emphasis on it in our lives. Well, you need to put 100% emphasis into something, and it will not be into one thing because that wouldn't make any sense to put 100% into everything because you don't have that sort of percentage to actually split yourself apart like that. What you will do is instead is that you will put 10% of yourself into this thing, 5% of yourself into this thing, 7%, 6%, etc., and spread yourself out thin. Nobody's ever putting 100% of themselves into one thing because they don't have that sort of fractaling ability to divide themselves infinitely like that. It's just not happening. Somebody is way more racist than this other person down the street. But that means that this guy is working at a level of 40% racist, and this guy's working at like 20% racism or some shit like that. I get what you're saying, but you're preaching to the choir in some real sense because, again, you're trying to prescribe how we should be versus actually acknowledging how we are because of why we are. Till you actually acknowledge the reasons for why people show up the way they show up, we can't get to a prescription. Not everything is taken literally. Well, it's best to take things literally because you don't have any reason to read between the lines until you start to ask questions. Literacy exists because in order for you to determine what somebody is saying, you need to be able to read what they say and then ask any sort of clarifying questions in the event confusion arises. Currently, I have no reason to be confused. I'm just simply stating things to prompt you to revise your statements. And the richest man on the planet is also autistic. So there's no real lapse in my ability to parse language apart and parse ideas apart properly. If you are confused or you think I'm confused, then we simply just keep talking until we get to a point of resolution in any particular topic, and we'll move from there. I don't truly believe people are idiots. Well, let's pick a different word then, because it's not particularly useful in this conversation to. I don't know what the word means if you don't mean it in this sort of derogatory sense. Everyone equally will actually lead overall global race peace. I don't know what that statement means. A quick question: why can I only see comments on your screen, Kurosai? Because they're talking the most. I feel like maybe, I don't know. Let me see. My chat maybe let me see. Yeah, that isn't the name explanatory to your answer. Isn't the name explanatory? Yeah, okay. What question? Gagging. It's on the floor. Is there a gagged guy on the background of the video? Is there a gagged guy? I'm not sure what that means. Disagree. All right. Reading top messages, switch to all messages and the filtering settings. You talking about him or me? Mine is live chat. I'm guessing it's him. When's the next Kurosai video? Well, let's see. I started a full-time job about 3 weeks ago, effectively, after basically living as a YouTuber for almost 7 years straight, primarily as a full-time YouTuber. So it was already difficult to figure out when I was going to produce the next video because I spent about 400 hours in any video at any given point in time. So now that I have to work 40 hours a week, my ability to give a definitive answer to the question is diminishing. So I've went out of my way to hire or look to hire or begin the hiring process of having assistant editors who I'm trying to dress up and function them as more of a assistant YouTuber, because a normal editor won't be able to be much of any use to me. Jobless Reincarnation getting a new season? No, it's not getting a new season. It has a new season currently. It is actually airing. It's on the 4th episode. Kurosai would actually be rich if he wasn't an orange girl, but it is what it is. 70. What's the job about? Editing, gig, content creation. My job, if you mean my job, personally, my job, I work as a process operator for the company GE Verana. I edit full time as well, even though it's not the full time. As in, I'm not at home anymore editing all day, waking up editing, going to sleep editing. It's taking a bit of a side. It's taking a bit of a detour, I suppose. So I'm having to bring in some additional assistance to make sure the ship is still sailing, so I can scale up my income and start to move into these bigger avenues. Bigger avenues such as like getting in more into animation, so people can stop assuming that when they see Mushoku Tensei on my screen in my videos, that they don't make the mistake of assuming that I am animating a Mushoku Tensei episode. Good job, bro. Hope you're alive. Hope you live a prosperous life, man. Thank you. Good job, bro. The message redacted. Okay. Which channel is it okay to reveal which channel? So my stupid ass trying to get an amateur voice acting. What do you think? This channel, I'm not sure what you mean when you jump from this to this. Um, Let me just readjust some things that I'm saying. I am simply trying to get people to assist my channel that I am running, that you are currently on, watching this live stream for, getting people to assist in the content production of my content so that I can continue to work a full-time job, paying them with my income. Currently, my main task right now is to have this live stream while I edit videos and talk to my community, getting to know people, while bringing people into my Discord where we can have a more communal experience, foster a tighter community that eventually tilts towards a cult, so I can benefit from the passive and active abilities like an RPG game of what you would get from a cult, and eventually just spiraling upwards to build the this sort of anime slash political slash entertainment based empire. And whatever. I actually have been watching Kurosai for the past 3 or 4 years, and the stream really shows how much effort he puts into the videos. I do think there's most of them aren't likely very cool. Thank you for that. Yuval Noah Harari is a great writer. Is that a question or a statement? I think it's. I'm not following the chat. You just added yourself. No. Okay, you guys don't have an avatar. That's confusing me. Yeah, I think Yuval Noah Harari is. I read one book in a few pages, so I can't really say all that. But I think a lot of the things that he says on podcasts make me think that he is only a decent writer. But anyways, maybe YouTube downgrading him because he uses Duracell palettes for avatars, but doesn't want a license for it. So I actually talked about this a few minutes ago, or maybe an hour ago, where I said to myself, not out loud to anybody else, literally, but I'm probably gonna get a new VTuber avatar soon. I just hate the idea that I have to get a new one because I don't want to spend money on something that I don't really use that often. And I also am going to be accused of getting into VTubing because it was popular. And when I started VTubing in 2017, when nobody even knew what it was. Let's see. Read Homo Sapiens. I have the book on my shelf. Go to Trump comment. I love the Kurosai videos from the White House. Hello, Mr. Trump. Who is that black woman you're watching? Nice Destiny joke. Kurosai's gonna stop being orange. Yeah, the orange color is a mistake. Like I have to literally lower the where is it at? I have to lower the brightness or whatever for it to even function properly or appear properly. And it's also frozen currently, which is another issue. So whatever. Fuck you, I guess. But yeah, I have Yuval Noah Harari, whatever the fuck his name is, the Homo Sapiens. I'm pretty sure I bought the book because it was one of the books Obama recommends. So I think it's that, and I think he recommends Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. I'm pretty sure. I feel like somebody made that book list for him so he could say that that's his book list. But whatever, I'm not gonna do that to him. I don't know the man like that. But anyways, yeah, the model should get updated maybe at some point. I got to get more into the community of content creation. That is the more vain side of the community, the side of the community that wants everything to be so pristine and clean and proper and prim, and then get some tips from them because I'm a raw dog kind of guy. I don't give a fuck about presentation, which is why my videos don't do that good. I don't care about thumbnails and titles and shit like that. So I struggle to get my stuff out there properly because the system now is predicated on if your video isn't packaged properly, then it won't probably do that good, or it'll get delivered to the wrong people, and then they will punish the video's performance because YouTube sent the video to the wrong people, and then yada yada yada. Kurosai, please do a reading stream with preferably Mark Mason's books. We will see what happens. I have a long list of things to do. As I've previously said, I've recruited some people to help me do video editing. And I work a full-time job, and I do all my editing primarily as my own editor. Of course, I need to learn about clickbaiting. Clickbaiting doesn't work anymore, which is why I said what I said about the whole thing of, if YouTube sends your video out and people don't watch it, then you get punished for that. You literally get punished for. There's a whole system a grading where if your video is delivered to the wrong set of people, people click on the video and then click off of it, and then have the retention for the video is reduced. I know you probably weren't serious about that with the statement, but I just want to clarify that with the general audience that is far more autistic than I am. I have a Patreon. It has pretty much been, I think it's been getting signal boosted in this chat, in this live stream chat. Occasionally, the bot will drop the Patreon link, if I'm not mistaken. If it is not, whatever, but it is pinned on the comment section of the last video that I uploaded, and the one before that one, and probably the one before that one. And the Patreon link is in the description section for every single video on my YouTube channel, ever since the dawn of time, effectively speaking. I have a video where I talk about the Patreon, about, I think, 2 minutes into it, and then I think I do it again in another video. I think all in last month. So there's an upward struggle, upward hill, Sisyphus, of me having to constantly reiterate things that I've said a number of times ad infinitum, in different places across the internet sphere: Twitter, TikTok, Tumblr, my 3 T's, and yes, I love the whole lot of egg video. 2021, I believe, I released that video. It was an interesting thing. It was an interesting premise. I was supposed to do more with that because the title itself suggests a lot more going on than just the idea of the Wonder Egg priority. It was a mixture of a whole lot of Red by Cardi, Playboy Cardi. His album coming out that was a bit of a flop initially, but then it became a cult classic, I suppose. I remember he was demonetized, so Patreon was the main source of income. I've had Patreon since 2016, I believe. That was probably my main source of income leading up towards 2019, where I peaked at like around $700 a month of income on Patreon, and then at some point I peaked around $400 a month of income through YouTube because my YouTube videos weren't that long. So between Patreon and YouTube up until 2020, I guess, I was able to make a little bit of money on the side while I worked full-time at the same time. But after the year 2020, I would have part-time jobs, and I scaled up my content creation strategy so that I can make more money from YouTube, and I would make more money in ad revenue. And Patreon became a sideshow where I dropped down to around only $200 a month, versus YouTube taking the reins of being the main source of income relative to Patreon. And then my part-time job was able to give me enough money to balance out against what Patreon and what YouTube was not giving me. So I lived as a humble Vincent Van Gogh type creator who basically lived underneath the threshold of the actual amount of money you need to live in America properly, because I still live with my parents. If I didn't, I would be actually Vincent Van Gogh living with my brother, I suppose, instead. That's actually his backstory. Vincent Van Gogh basically lived and died as a homeless man, effectively, because he lived with his brother. He never lived within his actual means of income, and yada, yada, yada. That's the story of most struggling artists in general. But things are a bit more different now. For the first time in my life, in a long time, if ever, I have an actual job that actually is giving me legitimate money to some degree. And I am not permanently demonetized. That was corrected within 20 hours. I talked about that during another live stream, during which the first, I think, 5 minutes of the live stream, I talked about how, talking too fast, meshing my words. During the first 5 minutes of my live stream about a month ago, I talked about how the decision for the demonetization was reversed within 20 hours because I submitted an appeal, a video recording of myself explaining why my channel did not deserve the demonetization. In that 5-minute video, I expressed how the last video that I released the same day that I was demonetized was on the movie Obsession. And the movie Obsession was a rated R film. So the charge against me was that my channel was putting out content that was trying to get kids to watch mature content, family content, misuse of family content. So I had to basically go down the list of things as to why that was bullshit, and I got my I was remonetized within 20 hours. So that was pretty much the nail in the coffin. That was the nail in the coffin. I cannot survive another moment like that where YouTube decides to take my entire earnings away for the month and then postpone them to the next month so that I can get a bigger check next month. But still, I was behind on rent by $600. So I have no way to potentially combat that next time. I'm at the mercy of YouTube at any point in time, and I can no longer live like that. So we're back to working full time until somehow my Patreon can earn enough money so that I don't need to work a full time job in a factory that may kill me one day. How's sweaty? How sweaty is Eris's armpit? I'm not going to cover that sort of stuff. That is for the layman YouTubers who aren't very creative, who need to get you to be a little hard and shoved up in order for them to watch. In order for the viewer to engage with their content, they must prey on your sexual desires. I'm not really that sort of YouTuber anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's still in me. It's still a part of my bone structure, but whatever. I will always remember Kurosai as an artist who takes everything too seriously. You say that, but I know who Jin is from League of Legends because he's my favorite character in the series. Because what it means to be an artist is to take everything too seriously. What it means to be an artist is to take everything too seriously. You must be sensitive in order to be an artist. In order to feel art, you must feel it intensely. You must feel it as if there is no difference between you and the art that you create. The line between what it means to love and hate is paper thin. The line between what it means to experience and to hallucinate is paper thin. In order to be at that line of the threshold of what it means to create, you must create yourself anew, and anew again and again and again. How old is Kurosai? 33. Patreon could easily be bypassed by certain websites. If you know, you know. I don't know what that means. Let's see. The Botrix is the #1 chatter. I feel sad. That's just what the bot does. At some point, I'll give him a new name, I guess. Like I said, I'm lazy when it comes to trying to dress up things to look pretty. It's very annoying to have to fix things that don't really need to be fixed to begin with, but it needs to be fixed so it can have some sort of visual effect on the audience so they can feel a part of something greater. That sort of stuff. Why not work as an editor for a bigger channel? Because they are all fucking ass. I would rather kill myself than edit for another boring YouTuber. Fuck no. And then it's not lucrative. I would just be working. Listen. I would literally just be working a different job, making less money. It does not solve the actual problem, which is that I want to make my own videos and I want to make sure that I make money from my own content and live within my means, which is saying that I don't want to make more than like $40,000 in a year. I'm not asking for $70,000. I'm not asking for 30 or anything crazy. I just want to make something I want to be able to support my family. I want to be able to have healthcare that will prevent certain physical and mental issues that I am being afflicted by, and make something that makes people want to get up out of their bed and say, I want to watch Kurosai today. That's pretty funny, that video. This one is pretty informative. This one is pretty inspiring. This one makes me more educated. I just want to help out the world in the way in which I can, and scale that up until the point where I can become the next Black Elon Musk, an actual African, and unlike his white African ass, and do what I can, in the limited amount of time that I'll be here. Anyways, Vietnam, yes. Your vids would gain more interest by time solely because chaotic nature is spreading use of AI, which is incapable of that. You're basically wrong. I'm sorry to say. Healthcare, you can get Medicare, brother. I have healthcare under this job, so it's been solved to some degree. But I just mentioned something about me having a bit of an instability issue with my mental health. So a job being secure for me is only as secure as I am mentally, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know. I don't want to bring up the Vietnamese resistance force here, brother. You could be a voice actor just thinking they make no money and AI is here to destroy them first. It's like the first thing AI went after when people pushed it into this sort of creative market. The first thing it went after is art, and the next thing it's going to go after more vehemently is voice acting. And it's just going to scale up further until it gets out of control. And the only people who will properly exist within their artistic means are people who can do all of it. People who can actually be the voice actor, write their own scripts, do their own animation, do their own in-house education of teaching people how to be a virtuoso, basically being someone who is capable of having multiple facets of talent at once. If you only have 1 or 2 skills, you're done for effectively. You need to have at least 3 skills in this day and age. And if you don't, then the clock is ticking. The little rabbit from Alice in the Wonderland is looking at you with his red eyes, and the clock is ticking. As a chaotic neutral person, I love AI. I want to see how far it will go and slowly destroy humanity and replace us with robots. I somewhat agree. You gotta earn them dongs, bro. You have to surround yourself in dongs. Effectively speaking, it's a work in progress. I have this thing called the Content House, spelled with a K because I'm a coon. Spelled with a K. I like to put the word K in place of things because that's just what you do when you have this sort of childish brain that is still operating underneath the adult body. But basically, I'm trying to curate a set of people, like some sort of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but like anime people instead, I suppose, where we just basically try to get together to create content together to scale up and chase after our ambitions. That won't last very long because 20-year-olds don't have that much steam to begin with to even attempt to put nose to the grindstone, to work very hard in difficult times of stress, of great economic turmoil. They won't be able to properly focus on the work ahead because they have things like influenza or things like, some sort of lung issue, or maybe they're too gay, so they can't help but to go into gay porn for about 4 hours of the day. So it just distracts them. It's hard for them to focus on the work ahead so they can, pave the way for their life into the future so that they, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Bird wants to round up weebs to make a company out of it. Got it. I've been somewhat successful here and there, but it always comes down to how much money I have in my pocket. I'm only as effective as I have money in my account. A gun can do the same thing, even a pencil, if you're brave enough. Crazy, but not that crazy. Would you mind shutting down? Would you mind shutting your damn mouth? I'm not sure what that's going on. I'm not going to look back in the chat to see what that context is. We're just going to get back into editing, and I will take questions from there. Let's see. Turn this back on in the background. Also, let me just turn this on now that you have heard me talk. It wouldn't be a problem to hear somebody talk much faster than me who was generally talking about the same things that I talk about. So let me just turn this on in the background. And if you want me to talk, just simply ask me a question. I will continue to read the chat if I find anything relevant to comment on. But until then, I'm going to go into autopilot.
That was all okay, but now report doesn't use stream because he used my name unironically.
What is the favorite video that I've made? My favorite videos probably are either anime or Isekai Squared, or Isekai Squared is called Isekai 2 on the channel. I had to clarify that if you go look up Isekai Squared, typing in the letters to spell out the word squared, you're not going to find it. It's Isekai 2, but I can't put in. I'm pretty sure I could have put the actual 2 as in like squared, but whatever. Point being is that's one of them. The other one is anime music producer or anime producer. I'm pretty sure it's anime producer. Which these are my favorite videos because any video, just to, I guess, grab your balls and squeeze them a little bit. Any video that I put Jen in is going to be a bit more better of a video for me because it's a personal insert. Because I basically LARP as Jen, I suppose. The anime music producer is a video about me. Again, once again, it's about me. Any video where I heavily self-insert is I'm gonna have a more of a how would you say? Any video where I heavily self-insert, I'm going to favor it more than any other video. Obviously, right? Okay, we delayed the next Kurosai video by 1 hour now. GG chat. All right, so I was serious about the whole content house thing. So basically, I have this thing called Content House in my Discord server where it says Content House spelled with a C instead of a K. And then in the group chat, if I scroll up to where it says at the top of the screen, I'm creating an online content house where everyone involved pitches in hours of production on a diverse range of projects that we collectively choose to work on together. These projects can range very widely in nature and scope and doesn't necessarily have to be anime related. It's important to clarify that this isn't an editing job. I'm seeking partners and collaborators rather than employees. The goal is for everyone involved to benefit from this collaborative effort. Since this group is collaborative, compensation will currently be in the form of skill exchange, bartering, marketing assistance, revenue sharing, percentage of future earnings, resources or equipment, and future paid work. The main appeal of this content house is for each person to have a team of editors ready to work on their projects and grow together. Join our online content house as a partner/collaborator. We're looking for individuals who are passionate about content creation, who have a strong sense of work ethic, and are willing to commit their time and skills to our collective projects. While specific skills may vary depending on the projects we undertake, a general proficiency in video editing, writing, or other relevant areas of content production would be advantageous. Additionally, communicating effectively and working collaboratively within a team setting is essential. If you're enthusiastic about joining forces to create compelling content and are ready to invest your time and energy into our shared goals, we'd love to hear from you. They're corporate PR, like, I know, understand. Leave me alone. I can do all types of voices except for the heavy British voices. Low key want to work with you, but I don't have a good mic. Maybe we can work around that with the video context, maybe. So I have a strong desire to not work with any voice actors ever, for any reasons whatsoever, ever at all, because voice actors don't bring anything to the table but their voice, and that is that is like a bar that is underneath hell. That is like in the 10th circle of Dante's Inferno hell. It is such a low bar that I can't even be arsed to work with any voice actor unless they make it and let themselves extremely useful and extremely in my face constantly, so I don't have to go looking for them. That is the only voice actor I'm willing to work with. The other one is the voice actor that is already popular, so that I benefit from our shared collaborative efforts. Those are my two main requirements. Oh, I'm sorry. And then there's the pussy points. Obviously, the pussy points. If you are a female or can at least sound like one, then infinitely you rank above any other voice actor that I mentioned thus far at this point. So that's the hierarchy of needs. If you have a vagina or can sound like you have a vagina, then you're at the top of the pyramid. If you are popular in the voice acting domain, then I'm going to work with you. If you are in my face, aka on my Discord, aka on my Twitter feed, aka around me, where you can send me voice clips and give me recommendations or that kind of thing. You're a friend, an associate, somebody that I can talk to on a daily basis, yada, 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 yada. Then I'm going to work with you. But if you are somebody in my YouTube chat who pops up every now and then, and you're asking me when I can get out lines to you, you're asking me when I can have a video for you so you can voice act in it, I have to wait for you to get a better microphone, then you're not going to register in my brain because I'm already racing towards all these other things. It's just not possible for me to hold space for you. Whoa, shots fired. Local artist says voice actors are meaningless and shouldn't exist unless they have a pussy. Effectively. I know that's very annoying to hear from one of the biggest anime content creators in the space, but I am a dying black man. Literally, I'm a dying breed of black men. And my time is limited on this planet. I don't have cancer or anything that serious, but I'm a very rough and tough kind of guy. I kind of run very fast and loose with the rules of this thing called life. And it puts a mental toll on me physically as well. And I have a family, and I'm trying to take care of them. I don't have the time to play around people who don't take this as seriously as I do. Let me just lay it out. Let me just lay it just flat out like butter on toast. Let me just spread it out across the bread that is hard and brown now. I do not have time to play with people who are just hobbyists. I don't have time to spend time on content as if it were a hobby. Content is war for me. It is a strategy. It is like Churchill. It is like Truman. It is a big deal for me. It has quite literally been the course of half of my life. I have been content creating for over half of my life. I'm 33 years old and I've been editing videos and making content and voicing in my own videos, drawing pictures, all these sorts of things since I was a Uyghur lad. And for me to be approached by somebody who wants to just do it to see if they're gonna have fun with it, if they're gonna see if they like it, to have something on the side, to have some little, like it's an action figure. I have been there when I was 11 years old, and I am no longer a boy. You don't need to apologize. I don't take offense to the request. I simply ask that if you want to voice act with me in my videos, you better goddamn put in the work. I shouldn't have to tell you anything. I shouldn't tell you what microphone to get. I shouldn't have to tell you how to join my Discord server. I shouldn't have to tell you where to find the chat in which you could find the lines that I put down in the chat for you to rehearse. I shouldn't have to do anything because I already do too much. And by comparison, I assume that you're 18. I'm pretty sure you're 18. You live in Vietnam, and your daily life consists of Roblox and Minecraft maybe, and Fortnite maybe. 15. So you're basically like half my age. At your age, I was doing the same things, but in a retarded way. At your age, I was literally drawing. I was recording my cousins and brothers, putting them in videos. I was creating content since the day in which you would conceive of the idea of content creation before the word or phrasing was even a thing. So when you say family, no, I don't have a wife and kids. I'm supporting my siblings. I'm supporting my mother. I'm supporting. Anytime I get a check, I pretty much take a large portion of it to go out and do fuck all with it. It's a very annoying experience, but as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate what it feels like. I've come to gamify the idea of taking care of people. When you're young, you don't really give a fuck about people because you're basically Superman. But like the evil version of Superman, when you think you can fly around with an S on your chest and you're undefeatable, you don't feel your mortality, you don't feel like you're gonna die at any point, and then you start to creep towards 27, and then once you hit 27, it's like, oh, actually, I'm getting things figured out for the first time ever, and I think you get the idea. Half of what I'm saying is going in one ear out of the other for a 15-year-old friend here, but the point is that number one, if all you can do is voice act. If all you can do is voice act, you better get really, really, really fucking good at it and make yourself extremely marketable. It needs to be your one-trick pony. It needs to be your gimmick. It needs to be something you are known for. It cannot be a hobby. I am, long gone are the days where I pick up random 9-year-olds or whatever in my Discord server that don't belong in there and find out that they're 9 only a year after. I have to kick them out because all my mods are going to say to me, you can't have a Discord. You can't have a Discord full of 9-year-olds or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, long gone are the days of me allowing, quite literally, like children, random people who like my videos to be in my videos voicing. And I can just allow for that because my sense of quality, my sense of taste, my sense of perfection at the age of 23 isn't anywhere near as what it is right now at 33. Let's see. Kurosai already have a back pain and wise men. Actually, considering that I sit down, I'm a very sedentary gentleman. I'm very healthy because I'm a poor black bitch, and what that means is I literally walk everywhere. So I could be much more unhealthy, but because I walk everywhere, and my BMI, my body mass index is 14. I'm not as bad as I could be, even though BMI 14 is lethal. Anyways, you remind me of Absol and Easy E, if you get what I mean. I think I get the idea of it. I think you're being a little racist, but I'll allow it. I'll tolerate it. Please don't push yourself too much. It's too late. I have 3 jobs. Let's see. Okay. All right, let me get back to the.
Oh, and there's his queen.
I have a message to read. Let me
my one.
read some messages
his
in my
queen.
DMs.
Oh, Officer Nasty is there
wow.
too. Oh, they've got like a nice little walkthrough on how to do it. Hit the little dots.
Maybe somebody's trying to send me some porn.
You can also report on kick.com. There's a
here.
specific button for doxing. I've had enough
Stop
personally.
that. Pause this. I am racist. I don't like orange people. Makes sense. Drama. Bro, I don't even mean it that way. No, I was just joking. I was teasing you. I have to remember that 15-year-olds are like really young sometimes, and then some 15-year-olds are really old. So they're a weird phenomenon. You can meet a 15-year-old who's like smarter than you, and you're like 50, and then some 15-year-olds are like still 5 mentally, and I have to gauge it sometimes. It's hard to gauge it in chat. It's hard to gauge it in a text chat, but I can pick it up immediately in voice. Yeah, voice chat is pretty. Also, I don't like pineapple on pizza. You don't count. Okay. Let's see.
Not sure why you're
Is my alarm going
special.
off?
This is Kolas from No Limits Fun. Many yogurt males don't know why they're special. We have a unique set of tastes that
Sir, I promise I don't mean in a racist way. I'm sorry. Let me say it very slowly. Okay. I don't think you're actually racist. And I don't know how to say anything else past that to explain why I'm not actually serious when I say that, because I'm trying not to pontificate. I'm trying my best not to pontificate. But listen to me when I say this. Listen to me when I say this. Racism is largely a LARP. LARP stands for live action role playing. We should be saying, I guess that makes sense. Racism is largely a LARP because most people who are quote unquote racist are pretending to be racist because they're somebody else is racist in some real sense, I guess. And it's like some sort of choice doll, or maybe the Chinese whispering game to be a little racist, I guess. The phone game where you pick up the phone and the next person who's next to you is saying something, and then when you hear it, you repeat it to the person that's next to you, and then eventually the phrase that is getting repeated ends up getting contorted because the initial person who said the phrase, let's say, I love dogs, it gets to the second person, let's say, I love dogs again. The third person hears it, he says, I love hogs. And then it comes to, I love frogs. And then it comes to, I fuck frogs. And then it comes to, the frogs are fucking gay. And then it comes to, they're fucking the frogs, gay people. And by the time it circles all the way back around, the guy who was like a skinny, slim looking, you know, maybe Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever, is suddenly Alex Jones instead. Did you come here thinking he was Caucasian? It's not a it is a common misconception that I am either Asian, white, Indian, for very racist reasons, or an Asian woman, or woman, period. I am many things, apparently. And artistically, I have to embrace it because it means that it's just a product of basically embracing what it means to be on the schizoid spectrum, which is that in order for you to have multiple creations that you put your life into, you have to somehow step into that life and be that thing for a moment. I actually wasn't thinking about his skin color, but probably should have thrown Ninja's words in chat earlier. Listen, this is a safe space for racism. No, not really, but no, I'm not the kind of liberal. I'm not really liberal at all. And I'm not that kind of conservative either. I'm not really conservative at all. But simply put, God, you wouldn't have lasted a day in my era in the Call of Duty lobbies. That's all I'll say about that, I suppose.
Set us apart within the social hierarchy.
Centrist is
In
worse
many
than them.
ways, we are the most
I know, because that's what it means to be a centrist. It means you take no sides. And since you don't take any sides, people who this is called the phenomena of arbitration, or should I say ambiguity. You see, when you have an enemy, you know that you're an enemy because they say they are, and they look like they're an enemy. But when you don't know where somebody stands with you, you don't know how to pin them down. You don't have to categorize them. They are ambiguous. And the mental work that it takes to figure out where to categorize somebody who cannot be categorized is way more mental work than is required for you to figure out where your enemy is, or a friend. A friend, somebody you know that is close to you, and an enemy is further from you, or in some cases, very close to you. But somebody that you don't know how to pin down, somebody that you don't know how to feel about, they're ambiguous. The brain actively tries to figure out where to put that person. And since that person is ambiguous, you'll never have enough energy to accurately put them somewhere. So they will be exhausting to deal with because in one moment they will agree with you, and the next moment they will disagree with you. And you will probably try to pin it down to some sort of fundamental belief they have, but you can't because their fundamental beliefs are not as consistent as yours. As a person who is further to the right or further to the left, generally speaking, a person who is in the middle has a mixture of beliefs that to certain people may seem like cognitive dissonance, but to that person who is a centrist, it's not dissonant. Emphasis on the word dissonance, because people think that just because you hold conflicting beliefs means that you experience dissonance. This is not entirely true in all cases. It is very possible to hold conflicting beliefs and be completely fine. Okay. To me, To me, to me being eccentric is saying, to me being eccentric is saying, I think what Hitler did for Germany was pretty interesting, but I'm not too sure I would invite him out to tea. The right wing thing to say is, by comparison, the right leaning thing is to say, I think Hitler had some really great ideas, and I would love to have him on my podcast. The left wing thing to say is, I think Hitler is terrible and he had no good ideas. When you're a centrist, you say, I think Hitler was basically like a terrible person or whatever, but he like helped out Germany with their economic issues or whatever. You can actually state things without feeling so invested into your identity as somebody who's supposed to hate Hitler because he did terrible things, which is an identity that both people on the left and right can share, but they can filter that sort of perception through certain types of lenses or whatever. I think you get what I'm saying. If you don't, I don't want to pontificate on this any further. Let me see. Where's that? Never mind. Just minimize this and put this back on.
Interesting, an attractive type of man.
Okay.
Mysterious.
All right, guys.
Intelligent. Calcium rich. Independent.
Wait! Hello? Excuse me? I wanted to watch this. Hello? Why is Hassan's speech? Excuse me, why did they take it offline? College Democrats? Hello? Where did Hassan's speech go? Hello?
It's a great honor to be here in the heart of the American empire, in the belly of the beast, speaking to the future activists of the Democratic Party, but as an outsider currently pushing for an insurgency.
An outsider currently pushing for an insurgency. It's just like so bizarre to me.
Now, a lot of people, including probably your future employers or your current employers, they call me a lot of names. They say I'm an idealist, a radical, a terrorist.
Shit. I had to
But the one thing that
respond to some messages just now in my Discord. I'm sorry. Twitter DMs. I'm still recruiting editors. I'm testing them actually. How being eccentric is different than standing for nothing or being apathetic. Well, based off of what I just said, that's how it's different. Do I need to repeat myself? No, we won't like it. You like it. We ain't judging. Beric sneezing. First, I make old block anime memes. Some sort of black thing. Meanwhile, of course, hello. Something about pizza sounds good. Okay. Well, I read that as straw man pizza because I'm a debate pedophile, I guess. Let's see. Sorry, English isn't my first language. Okay. What is your first language? I might be able to adjust my speech a bit. Whatever. I'll do it. Being a centrist, to me, means that you can say the federal government shouldn't have power over whether or not we have abortions. It should be a state-by-state thing. The right-wing person says, no abortion at all, whatsoever, period, point blank. The left-wing person says abortion for all, including, like, I don't know, at the to characterize the left, because they wouldn't actually say this for the most part. You should be able to get an abortion on a 9-month-old baby. By the way, just in case, if you need me to repeat myself to clarify, before I even repeat myself, let me say it twice or thrice so you can get it. Nobody believes that you should be able to abort a 9-month-old child. And if you can mention somebody, I will find you also somebody who is either a psychopath or somebody who is a psychopath. I'm not sure what else to say. Abolish gang violence. Abolish gang violence is something that people largely center left and center right can obviously all agree to. So this is what's that called? A bipartisan issue. Let's see. Okay. I think I need to get to bed soon so I can get some rest before I go to work. Let me put a timer on. All right, at 12. That's gonna be 2 hours. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna peace out. I gotta get some rest for this shift I gotta go in for. Luckily, it's a nice shift today. My machine should be down, so I think I can just sit around and tweet and get these people to get some editing done. I was gonna say earlier though, no, I'm not. Whenever I go off on a rant about anything on stream, I don't have much of a reason to be completely messed up nowadays because I have 2 editors in this chat. I have 2 editors in this chat. I have 1 in this chat. I'm in this chat too. And then 2 editors in this chat. That's each chat is for a different video. And before I had editors working with me, I was already doing 4 or 5 different videos at once. So I get the pushing. Minorities should unite against the oppressing majority. Minorities basically are the majority. When you add them all up and tally them up, it's like 50-50. Anyways, I have 18 political parties, 39 before the war in my country for us liberals versus what is that? It's pathetic. Like, how the fuck do you should stuff like that thinking into 2 parties? Yeah, the 2-party system is pretty fucked. It's just what we got. I don't know what to tell you. What's your opinion on Ivy Leagues? You mean like the schools? Somebody said you should definitely make a you should make a chain smoker cat video. Are you on your phone screen? So one guy in the chat says that I should make a chain smoker cat video. And the other guy in the chat says the anime isn't even out. And I currently have the footage up on my screen in a chat where I just got finished explaining that I have multiple chats where I'm using editors to direct them to make the videos for me. I see now the merits of what's happening. The trailer. My nigga, we're on episode 4 currently for this anime. Anyways, so do we have any questions before I go take a nap? I need to go nap for this shift for work right now. Also, do we want to submit some donations and subscribe to the Patreon and join the Discord server? Do we want to do that at all? Anybody want to join the Patreon? Anybody want to help me take over the world with anime? I'm serious, by the way. Do I remember you? What do you think I am? I remember everybody. Episode to second. Okay, all right. That's enough. That's enough. I gotta get some rest. I'm gonna plug my stuff at the end of this. I gotta go in for work. I'm gonna plug my Patreon where I submit updates to what I'm working on. And I teach people how to edit videos and I coach them on how to edit videos if you pay for the higher tiers. And then the Discord chat should be pinned, obviously. And then check me out on Twitch. I'm also on Twitch where I will probably come back at some point and stream myself getting caught up on anime like Mushoku Tensei and Chainsmoker Cat and various things like that. And yeah, I'm gonna start taking this the more annoying side of content creation a bit more seriously. The more annoying side of content creation is like being like personable. Anyways, that being said, ta-ta for now. I appreciate everybody coming to the stream today. I'm gonna get better. Eat well, brother. BMI sounds 14 sounds concerning. I know what to tell you. I can eat a motherfucker under the table and I will gain no weight. It's that African, scouter ant genes. I don't know what to tell you. Peace out. Take care. Stay safe. Love you guys.